Good evening everyone and welcome to Gundam News. And before we have a look at this month's Gunpla schedule, let's first get this week's breaking news out of the way. Bandai has announced a new Gundam TCG, and more details will be given out today in a live stream. Now, while I'm recording this, that live stream is still in the future, but while you're watching this, it's already out, so I will have it linked down below. So depending on what they reveal in that live stream, I'll either see you tomorrow or the day after tomorrow with a dedicated video on it, or I'll just tackle it next week in the usual Gundam news. And if you want some more information about Gundam card games in general, then you can check out my video I did about the subject earlier this week. I'll have it linked on screen and down below. But now, let's have a look at this month's Gunpla schedule, and boy was it packed! We're starting off slowly on the 12th with the Best Mecha Collection 1/144 scale RX-78-2 Gundam Revival version. It goes for 1,320 yen, 9 US, and it takes the aesthetic of the very first RX-78-2 model kit ever released and upgrades it with all of the modern Gunpla technology that we have nowadays. It comes complete with a beam rifle, a shield, 2 dummy beam sabers that are attached to the backpack, and then 2 different active beam sabers. One that takes the standard high-grade beam effect part, although none are unfortunately included, and 1 single beam saber chopstick. And I do have some mixed feelings about this because, sure, on the one hand, it is trying to mimic the old kit, and that thing did came with a single colored beam chopstick, but on the other hand, everything else of the kit has been made to be as color accurate as possible, so I feel like it would have been better if they also made the beam chopstick beam accurate. So if they did want to give us a period accurate stubby beam saber, then why not just give us a stubby beam saber blade effect part for it? But moving on to the 19th. First and foremost, we're getting the high-grade Murasame Kai for 2,750 yen, 19 US, which is the upgraded version of the standard Murasame, which also comes with a lot of missiles, a beam rifle, a shield, a beam saber, drop tanks, and a parts formation that doesn't require too many extra parts. And that transformation just also looks so good. And then for 2,090 yen each, 14 US, we're getting the high-grade Requiem for Vengeance kits. And compared to the recent Freedom kits, that is definitely not a bad price for the stuff that we're getting. Both come with their standard weapons, marking stickers, and a hell of a lot of detailing. I do wonder though how these very distinctive designs are going to be selling and how they'll affect the release of future kits from the series, because so far these are the only 2 that have been announced, and think about them what you want, but there are still some more really interesting designs in the series that do really deserve a model kit. But 2 is still better than the 0 announced kits for Silver Phantom. Finally, on the 26th then, we're getting the expensive stuff. For 4,070 yen, 28 US, we're getting the high-grade Cholera and its huge amount of beam effect parts, both for the wings and the Dragoons. Unfortunately for the Dragoons though, you'll still have to buy the weapon display set separately. But what is also included are the 2 beam swords with beam effect part, a beam rifle, and a chest that can open up to reveal the beam cannon underneath. Also, the gold promises to have some special molding, but for the best effect, it's probably best to bring your own golden paint. Next up, for 4,180 yen, 29 US, there's the figurized standard Nika Nanaura. She comes with 10 different hands, a tablet, a part to have her sitting, optional sleeves that are made out of rubber, and 3 different faceplates. 1 pre-printed standard one, and 2 that require you to put on the included water slide decals. There's a big smile one and a surprised one. And I also wonder if Nika is going to be the final Witch from Mercury figurized figure, or if it'll also get some other characters, like for example Cecilia or the Lafrith pilots. Lastly then, we have the BB Senshi Cosmic Era Fateful Showdown set, which gets you the Freedom Gundam and the Impulse Gundam, and the Strike Freedom Gundam and the Destiny Gundam, allowing you to recreate some of Gundam Seed Destiny's most famous battles, but in a super deformed fashion. And this set will set you back 3,630 yen or 25 US. And since we're on the topic of Gunpla, we also got some more information about the Master Grade Narrative Gundam B-Packs version Katoki. Both the complete set and the standalone set have gone up for pre-order on Premium Bandai, and the cable for the giant income units can also be wound up into the backpack. Which is not just a cool gimmick, but is also very handy for posing, because now you can make that cable the exact right length without needing to cut it. Meanwhile, on the figure front then, on September the 28th, Mega House held the MegaHobby Expo 2024 Past to the Future, where they showed off a lot of things, going from popular old figures to upcoming figures to even newly announced figures. And amongst those were some really cool ones. First up, we're getting the Gundam Girls' Generation Christina Mackenzie Into the Sky figure. More details will be revealed at a later date, but we can already get a good look of what is to be expected. And rather than being based on her anime counterpart, it seems like she's more based on the drawings by Haruhiko Mikimoto. So that is a total win in my book. And the other big thing is the machine-built Mobile Fighter G Gundam Butt Carrier, which not only got all of its details unveiled, but also immediately went up for pre-order on standard Japanese hobby sites. For example, Hobbling Japan, which is linked down below. It can be yours in March for 12,100 yen, 82 US, and you can display it either closed or opened up with a mobile fighter inside of it. Although they do of course add the disclaimer that not every model kit might fit inside of it. Next up then is a new figure line, the Light Link Museum series. More details will be unveiled at a later date, but again, we can already tell a lot from the pictures. It's a mobile suit inside of a connectable hanger, which you can put next to each other as well as on top of each other. And they have this color scheme that makes you feel like they're made out of stone, kind of like a statue, and I really like it. Although, to be honest, I would have been more excited about this series had I not just discovered the 100 yen connectable stands from Daiso. What I'm wondering about though is the light in the title, because my first thought was that there was going to be some kind of light up function, which would have then been really impressive if the line had continued and you could make like an entire wall of different mobile suits. But I don't see anywhere where there could be lights, so I guess it just means that they're going to be simple figures. But whatever they end up being, the first lineup includes the Sinanju, the God Gundam, the Rising Freedom Gundam, and the Unicorn Gundam. And the final new announcement then are these two big-sized mobile suit Nyandam figures. Going for 4,950 yen each, 34 US, you can get either the RX-78-2 Gundam or Char's Zaku 2 in late April. And you can display them either in or out of their cardboard box. Alongside these new releases then, they also announced some restocks. The machine-built Burstliner in February, the Cosmo Fleet Special Raw Loom RE in March, and the Gundam Guys Generation Char Aznable also in March. And there was yet more figure news outside of the expo, like the fact that the metal-built Zeta Gundam has gone up for pre-order. This impressive figure comes with an equally impressive price tag, 44,000 yen or 300 US, and it can be yours in April. And other than the usual stuff, we also have some interesting new gimmicks, like for example the movable leg thrusters and the beam saber that is on the back of the beam rifle, which I don't think we've ever seen with a Zeta Gundam, and kind of reminds me of what they had with the Gapslace rifle. The only thing that I'm missing here though is of course the Hyper Mega Launcher. Significantly cheaper then are the Sound Warrior Premium, Char Zaku, and Mass Production Type Zaku. But while they are called premium, they're actually designed to have some retro flair about them, with both old school proportions and old school articulation. But they do look absolutely charming. And on top of that, they also have a light up mono eye and a variety of sounds that they can play, including of course the mono eye activation sound. Char Zaku comes with a bazooka, the mass production type with a machine gun, and both of them come with a heat hawk. All of which can be yours in October for 3,850 yen a piece, 26 US. Also, while they are regular releases, if you get them through P Bandai, you'll also get 2 cracker grenades. And if your wallet is still alive after all of this, you can also blow 7,700 yen, or 53 US, on the premium Bandai Limited Mobile Suit Ensemble X52 Perfect Gundam. It comes with a stand to put it on, 2 sets of eyes, being the standard Gundam eyes or the smiling eyes from the manga, and parts to build the Perfect Gundam as the standard RX-78-2. Something that you're of course totally going to want to do after blowing 7,700 yen on this glorified gachapon toy. For the collectors though, this RX-78-2 is a new version. On to the anime news, where we of course start with Gundam Seed Freedom. With the special edition of the movie now being shown in Japanese cinemas, it has made over 5 billion yen and over 3 million people have seen it. Although I guess this is a bit cheating because they're lumping in the special edition with the standard version. But a win is a win is a win, and to celebrate that win, they released this new illustration. Next up is Silver Phantom, which we'll be releasing tomorrow, and also got all of the details for the release of its soundtrack. The digital version will also be releasing tomorrow, and the physical version, as previously announced, will be releasing on the 20th. For 3,000 yen, 20 US, you can get the regular edition, which is a CD with 30 songs plus the theme song, or for 5,000 yen, which is 34 US, you can get the limited edition vinyl record, which has 21 songs plus the theme song. And then finally for Requiem for Vengeance, we also got some interesting information. On October the 12th, the first 3 episodes will get a special advanced screening in Tokyo, and the Japanese voice actors have been announced as well. Nanako Mori for Solari, who played Kigali in Gundam Seed Freedom, Shoya Ishige for LeSean, famous for playing Gojo in My Dress Up Darling, Shunichi Maki for Chups, who mainly seems to be playing side characters, Ryunosuke Watanuki for Kale, who also seems to be mostly playing side characters, Ryosuke Hara for Heaton, who is, again, mostly known for side characters, Takeo Otsuka for Oni, who is famous for playing Kanata from Sinduality Noir, Maki Kawase for Haley, famous for playing Junko Kono in Zombieland Saga, and Hiroshi Naka for Gearhead, who played Revel in both The Origin and Kukuruzawan's Island. Also, they announced the name for the game that will become available in Unreal Editor for Fortnite. It'll be called Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, Red vs. Blue.
Hey, yeah? You ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it? Why are we here?
And talking about video games, in Gundam Battle Operation 2 for the PlayStation, the Zaku 3 Psycho Equip type has joined the fray, while on Steam, you could suit up with the Penelope. In UC Engage then, we'll soon get the 3rd chapter for 0089 Pesce Montagne, A Voiceless Whisper, which will go alongside an event unit assembly for the UR Celine ROM and the Magna Martel, a machine that was initially intended to be like a commander unit for the mass production type Cubelace. And on October the 1st, the second Gundam collaboration with Monster Strike went live. As I've said in the past, I know absolutely nothing about Monster Strike, but the collaboration art always looks fantastic. And this is again no exception. So just for that, this collaboration is awesome. In other news then, a Gundam-based satellite store will be opening up in Hiroshima and will be there from November the 1st. But if you're planning to immediately visit that store, in particular from November the 1st to November the 4th, you can only get into that store with a ticket that you have to get from an online lottery, probably because they're expecting a very high turnout in the first few days. But after that, though, the entry is free, without any limitations. Then we got this image of the Gundam Ariel in celebration of Gundam's 45th anniversary, and we have another somewhat return of the life-sized moving Gundam. From October the 3rd until the 22nd, the Gundam Next Future Science Exhibition will be held at the National Museum for Emerging Science and Innovation. And as part of this exhibition, you'll be able to play rock, paper, scissors with the hands of the RX-78 F00 Gundam. But there is a bit of a catch here, because there's only one session an hour in which 4 people can play against the hands. There is a lottery system in place. But at the very least, it is not an online lottery, and it is decided on the spot. And even if you can't get to play rock, paper, scissors with the life-sized Gundam, there are still some other really cool things to see and do there. Like a real-life beam saber that shoots out plasma, horrors, and exhibits that were once part of the Gundam factory Yokohama. As for the things you could get this week then, first up on the 28th, we got the Gundam Universe Strike Freedom Gundam Type 2, a Stray Red Frame, and Barb's Loops Rex, each for 3,300 yen, 23 US. The Strike Freedom has some very chunky shoulders and comes with 2 activated beam sabers and its 2 combining beam rifles, although it doesn't look like you can actually combine them. And those Dragoons aren't going to go anywhere either. The Stray Red Frame, meanwhile, only comes with its trusty Gerbera straight and some very thick legs. And then finally the Barbs comes with its sword mace, and it definitely looks like it's been putting on some weight, because that is quite the waist for an iron-blooded Orphans machine. 2 days later then, we got the FW Gundam Converge movie visual selection, featuring the RX-78-2 and Char Zaku 2, but now in the color scheme of the first movie's poster, and the Dom, Char Zagok, the Gok, the Goof, and the RX-78-2 again, but now as they appear in the poster of the second movie. And last but not least, on October the 1st, we got these Robot Spirits figures, which are limited to the Tamashii Nation store. For 4,400 yen, 30 US, there was the RX-78-2 version anime best selection. And as you might be suspecting, this is a re-release of the 2020 version of this figure. So it still comes with the RX-78-2, a bunch of hand options, the beam rifle, 2 beam sabers with beam saber blade effect parts, and the shield, making it somewhat of a budget version of the standard release. And then for 6,050 and 42 US, there was the Ariel version anime best selection. And again, there are some important differences with the standard version. The best selection version comes with the shield, which can of course still be separated into the gun bits, which can then be put onto the body, but they no longer come with the clear pieces to display them flying around. Then we also get the beam rifle, but unfortunately we no longer get the beam effect part for it. And this is especially unfortunate because the included beam effect parts in this set are green instead of blue. And finally then, we also get some hand options. The color might also be slightly different, but that could just be down to the different lighting of when the pictures were taken. So if you don't mind these omissions, you are saving a nice 1,650 yen, 11 US, if you can make it to the Tamashii Nation store. And hey, in Japan, that is a nice big bowl of ramen. And while you're waiting for that ramen to be prepared, you can read some Gundam stuff. There was the big comic superior, in which Gundam Thunderbolt is being serialized, the recommendations for model kit building without having to paint the entire thing, which includes Gunpla as well as other model kits, the Mobile Suit Gundam 1 Year War History book, which is part of the 45th anniversary celebrations, the Yamane Rihiro art book, and finally the 17th chapter of the Battle Tales of Flanagan Boone was released for free online and is linked down below. As for this week's apparel news then, GGG kicked things off on September the 27th with pre-orders for both their 08 MS Team collection and their Haro cushion keychains. And the Haros are very simple. They're little plushy keychains that go for 1,320 yen each, 9 US, and the available designs are pink or navy with a moustache. As for the 08 MS Team collection, we're getting some really cool jackets and t-shirts as part of their GGG ARMS lineup. So for 17,600 yen, 121 US, there's an olive or black BDO jacket or an anorak parka in the same colors. And for 5,280 yen, 36 US, there's a white t-shirt with Easy 8 markings, a black t-shirt with 08 MS Team markings, a khaki t-shirt with the 08 MS Team logo, or a black t-shirt with the 08 MS Team logo in a box. And all of these GGG items were also available in their physical stores starting September the 28th, with the exception of the t-shirts, which will be in stores starting October the 5th. And Bankore also started off strong on the 27th, with pre-orders for a bunch of different Gundam-inspired bags, and of course, some acrylic stands. Love them or hate them. For 6,600 yen, 45 US, you can get this pretty boxy seamless backpack inspired by either Amuro Ray or the Hyaku Shiki, making for a very striking yellow backpack. And then for 7,480 yen, 51 US, you can get a business bag inspired by Amuro Ray. As for those acrylic stands then, it is 4 sets of 4 roughly Gunpla scaled mini acrylic stands, going for 1,650 yen a set, 11 US. There's Amuro Ray in his uniform, Amuro Ray in his pilot suit, Char in his uniform, and Char in his pilot suit. And the scales are roughly 144 scale, 100 scale, 160th scale, and 148 scale. Also, I find it kind of funny that they're posing the Char figures with the new Gundam as well, because, you know, as if there's no Sazabi model kits out there. But anyways, a few days later then, pre-orders also went up for these big acrylic stands of Gundam 00's Gundam Meisters. They go for 2,750 yen each, 19 US, and are slated for a November release, which is also when most of these other Bankore items will be releasing. With the only exception being the backpacks, which are releasing in January. And then just today, this Kira Dialogue acrylic stand went up for pre-order for 2,200 yen, 15 US, and features his most infamous line from the movie. But I also have a weapon, Lacus's Love. And it is also slated for a November release. And as always, let's quickly wrap things up with the polls. Because October the 1st is Glasses Day in Japan, Gundam.info wanted to know which Gundam Seed character comes to mind when we're thinking about glasses. Sai Argyle, Dalida Lolaha Chandra II, Juriwu Nien, or Herbert von Reinhardt. So not exactly the most all-star lineup they could have gone for. They really limited themselves by sticking to the Cosmic Era, and even then they could have included characters like Guy Murakumo or Atheron/Alex Dino. But no, instead we have Sai winning with an overwhelming 60.6% of the votes, which is then followed by Dalida with 15.2%, Jury with 14.9%, and Herbert with 10.2%. And for anyone doing the math, these are the numbers that are on the Gundam.info website, but these all add up to 100.9, so somewhere there is a slight mistake. As for the currently ongoing poll then, this one is a lot more interesting. With the upcoming release of Requiem for Vengeance, Gundam.info wants to know which machine from the series we're looking forward to seeing the most. Solari Zaku 2, the Goof Custom, the Gundam X, or the Jim. You all know where this is going. On Gundam.info we have two very close battles. The Jim and the Zaku 2 are neck and neck for the third place, while the Goof Custom and the Gundam X are very close for first place. But then when we go to Twitter, the results become a bit more clear, because here the Goof Custom of course decisively pulls ahead, leaving the Gundam X in the dust. The battle between the Jim and the Zaku 2 though is still relatively close. But as much as I'm biased towards the Jim, I just had to vote for the Jim Custom. And if you want to cast your vote, I'll of course have the links to that down below. And that has been all for this week's Gundam News. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam News. Or tomorrow with the Gundam TCG.